Thank you so much, Jeffrey. That's such a lovely, warming introduction. And I'm about to tell you about how to follow your passions in a difficult world. And it might seem impossible, but that's why we're here, to show you the way.
Exactly.
As Jeffrey said, we will lighten your path to how to develop yourself in this COVID environment. And also outside of the COVID environment, you can use these podcasts for your personal development at any stage that the world is in and you are in. So there we go. Cheesiness aside, I'm about to get to some more even cheesier subjects. So it's remembering... Are you laughing, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
It's remembering what made you passionate when you were younger. Your dream and your dream career as a kid, your general dreams, could be anything. I'm not talking about being an astronaut. Maybe you wanted to be a firefighter. Maybe you wanted to be a chef. It doesn't matter. Your passions might lie in helping others, and there are plenty of things that you can do for that as well. So there might not be specific careers, but you might have just thought, my career or my idea for the future isn't something specific, but I do want to help people. So if that's the case, there's so many things you can do. So if you already do engineering, you can find companies that work for the greater good of humanity, that work around your ethical basis. And there are so many companies out there. So even if you're doing, like I said, even if you're doing engineering, you don't need to start studying humanities. You don't need to start doing sociology and go and help some distant country. You can genuinely do it from the career that you're already in. There's always a good industry and there's a bad industry. So if that's what you're after, definitely choose the ones that fit your moral like grounding more. You might not get as much money for it in the future, in like right now, sometimes in the future, but I guarantee that it will be more rewarding for you. And it will, if it makes you passionate, it's better to be in a job that you're passionate for, no matter what it is, than one that you're not passionate for with more money. Personally, obviously, you can make that decision for yourself, guys and girls. So yeah, maybe you want to be a chef. You can explore cooking. You don't need to make it a career. So there are some things that, following your passion doesn't have to be a career. It could be a hobby, absolutely anything. So if you can find ways, you don't have to become a chef. Like I said, if you're interested in cooking, maybe you have just studied for the last 6 years in medicine. You don't need to suddenly think, I'm going to follow my passion and become that chef. You can just spend more time cooking. You can go on YouTube videos, look up cooking, anything like that. But following your passions can literally take you down any route that you want to. Could even be turning your Instagram into a cooking page. It's absolutely anything. So following what you wanted to do as a child doesn't mean the exact thing. You can take the passion and you can relive it in your life right now. So if you don't want to completely retrain, then that's okay. But if you do, let's say that medicine is where you want to go down, there are certain schemes. So let's say that you wanted to be a doctor or a nurse, then go for it, because the UK does offer, I believe, I'm not sure, depends on the current situation and stuff, but they offer retraining programs for going to uni. They'll often give you a student loan again in certain respects, but again, you have to look into this yourself. But there are so many things you can do to follow your passions at any stage in life. And on my master's course, there are so many people that have already been and lived their entire life. Some of them are 60, some of them 70, some of them are 20, 24, 20, in their 30s, just all around life. People can pick the next stage of their life, any stage they want. They just need to know what they want to do, know what motivates them. And again, so you can do that by looking at your dreams when you were a kid. So, Jeffrey, what kind of dreams did you have as a kid?
Interesting question. For me, I'd say it changed like from time to time. We had in primary school, we had a careers day. And I know that one of the parents that was at my primary school used to be a lawyer. So I thought for a bit, maybe I'd be a lawyer. But then I guess in secondary school, I was really getting into politics and stuff. So I thought, maybe going into politics would be a thing. But I think one of the things that I saw, especially, in secondary school, you've got prefect elections and stuff. And we had that at our school. Even in sixth form, we had head boy and head girl. And I guess one of the things that I saw with that is sometimes politics can be a difficult game. As a politician, you might not always be able to do the thing that you know is right. You know, it might not be feasible or possible. You know, if you have like a vote, it can then make things difficult.
100%. Yeah, there are other powers that you've got to contend with.
It's exactly.
You might not agree with personally. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And I just feel like, so that's why, you know, I left politics. And yeah, it was only
Are you sure you've still got a chance to storm the White House? I don't know if it's been done before, maybe not, but like you might be able to.
In sixth form, in my, you know, it was coming to year 13, and, you know, they were thinking about applications for you know, university, and I don't know, I just wasn't sure what to do. And then one of my physics teachers, his name was Mr. Tolley. He himself, I think, did like an environmental course, and he was like super passionate about like green energy and like green technology, and he would always give you like these information that you don't necessarily need, but was like really useful to the topic. So like he said that, you know, like this was like ages ago, so I don't even know if they're still doing it, but in Japan, he was saying like they're buying all this like nuclear waste because they want to be able to find a way to make nuclear energy sustainable, their waste like renewable. So, you know, once the waste, what normally happens is once they use waste from nuclear reactors, it gets stored somewhere, you know, it's put underground, and it's, you know, kept there until it turns into, you know, it stops being radioactive. But yeah, one of the things that I liked about that he like taught was he was always like, you know, telling you things about how, you know, the field of science is developing. When it came to like applications, I was just like, I have no idea of what to apply. And he said, why don't you do like an environmental course? So I was just like, you know, I'm up for it. And yeah, I think when I saw that, you know, like Brunel was doing it, I applied and I got in and I was happy. And I think, yeah, I was really, really glad with the way it's gone, because I think one of the things that, you know, as being an environmental science student, I've learned is that it's like the environment isn't just about studying like trees or studying climate change. It's about looking at all these like interlinking factors. So, you know, like there's social justice plays not an issue, but plays a factor in, you know, the environment. Things like different industries. Obviously, there's ones that people think of like the energy industry and construction industry. But there's also other ones like the fashion industry, and looking at why do people not want to buy sustainable clothing. So I'm really happy with that. But yes, definitely, I'm pretty sure either 6 or 7-year-old Jeffrey was definitely not thinking at the age of like 18, he would be studying environmental science. But yeah, I'm honestly glad that I did, and yeah, don't regret it.
That is lovely, and the character development curve for you is just
thank you.
They should write a book. So good. And Ninoshka, have you got any experiences of your passions when you were younger and how that's influenced how you are today?
Well, when I was in primary school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I was just enjoying being a kid. But I mean, as you know, as you grow up, you have to think about what you want to do. And I was always interested in music because from a really young age, like my parents, you know, they sent us for classes, like for piano and like viola and that kind of stuff. So I was interested in music. And, you know, like we're saying, it was more of a passion rather than me wanting it to turn it into a career. The one thing that I always enjoyed doing was science, which I obviously ended up following. But yeah, I really enjoyed like mainly biology because I was interested about how things work in the body and how one small change can lead to something much bigger. So again, I applied to Brunel, like Jeffrey, and I did biomedical sciences. And in that, I was able to basically study everything that I was interested in, to be honest. And I enjoyed it so much that I ended up doing a master's as well because I couldn't get enough of it. but I mean, on the side, I still kept the music up because I didn't want to give it up. It was something that I really, really enjoyed doing. So simultaneously, whilst I was in uni, I was playing in orchestras and quartets. I was still taking lessons at Brunel because that's what they provided that. So I kept up on the side. So like, to be fair, that is a passion, but something that I enjoyed more and turned it into a career is science.
It's amazing. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And you've managed to, again, like wherever you go, you can find ways to live your passion, whether it's your job, whether it's
Exactly.
just something you do on the side. You've found ways to do that. That's amazing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So what can you play now? What instruments do you?
So I play piano. I play piano. I play viola. I did singing, and I kind of dabbled a little bit in trumpet.
Wow.
I wouldn't say I can play it that well, but I can make a sound.
We don't need to use introductions anymore. That we.
I am the introduction, one man band.
Yeah. Just get your trumpet out.
Okay, hold on one sec.
It's like you're announcing like the king and the queen in the olden times. Like
literally.
In comes our podcast, obviously. Absolute royalty. That's amazing. Yeah, absolutely love it. That is following your passions from child to now. Amazing. And please do, audience, let us know. We have a website. We also have an Instagram page. You can let us know how you've followed your passions and what they were. And if you want any tips and advice, then please feel free to send them our way, and we'll be able to respond and feature you maybe in the next podcast as well, if there's any interesting stories. So coming up to our second point, to truly follow your dreams, you need to distance yourself from the idea of making money. Money motivates so many people. And whether it's a motivation from, an expensive lifestyle that you want, or it's pressure from your parents, whatever ideal it is that you're working towards or is pushing behind you, if you solely focus on money, it will just restrict you and restrict what you want to do in the world. As soon as you're fixed on getting money, you're sort of following the societal trend, which isn't necessarily heading towards always the best place. Hence global warming, etc. And many companies did know about it, but don't actually adapt to it, don't go along with it just to save money. And by joining one of those companies and looking for money, it's fairly easy to make money in a world if you don't care about that things, because you can apply for jobs where potentially it's a bit more it's a bit more, I wouldn't say shady, but you know what I mean. It's not on the best side for whatever side of the industry you want to go into. But then again, it's not necessarily about the effect it has on the world. Sometimes making money can be easy, even in a good job, but it's just not things that you enjoy. So, for example, being an accountant, sometimes being a lawyer, you're investing a lot of your time and a lot of your energy into things that people don't normally enjoy. They do them, maybe they like the idea of the end goal, but they don't normally enjoy the process. You can pick jobs that you do like to do that are fulfilling. And sometimes that means, taking away the idea of money, maybe settling for a less exotic lifestyle, at least at first, and finding ways, around that, such as multiple streams of revenue, investing in certain stocks or ideas or whatever, with your own research, with your own, force and research behind those ideas, you can actually find ways around it. But the thing is that as soon as you think, I need money, I need a certain lifestyle, or I need to, make sure my parents are really happy with the job I'm doing, a lot of people feel pressured to going into a job that they don't really want to do. So it's worth reviewing what effect that idea of getting money has on yourself, and to see how it drives you in different ways. You've got to essentially ask yourself what's more important to you. Is it making a difference, achieving a position in a certain industry? Is it a certain job, a certain title, a certain impact that you want on the world? It could be anything, but assess what you want for yourself truly. Take away the idea of money behind it, and then try and focus to that. And you won't be able to do like 100% what you want and not care about money, because essentially money is important in the world, but just limit. If you want to follow your passions better, you need to limit your dependency on your outlook for getting money. And you might already be there, you might not, but it's worth reflecting on, thinking about, and seeing how it affects your life. So how about you, Jeffrey? Like, how does money affect your aspirations and your passions?
I wouldn't say it feels it. I think it's more one of those things that, you want to be in a job or even in a field that you're comfortable financially, so you'll be able to live, do the things that you want to do, but also you're doing work that you're sort of like happy about. So I think that's one of the things that I like about environmental science, or I'm quite passionate about the topic and all the things that we go into. But yeah, even like thinking about because I'm in my final year at uni, so there's always things you got to think about. So when you think of jobs afterwards, I have thought about like where will I work? Will I focus on something that gives me a big salary? And I think one of the things that I I guess I've learned from, like 3 years of, like course and like 1 year of a placement is that I just want to do a job that I enjoy more than, getting paid. I want to do a job that I can be like, yeah, I made a difference today. Or, today I did something and it was really cool. Like a job that always tests you, it might be a bit stressful sometimes, but always one that, you can come home and you feel like I did a really good job today. I don't want something that, gets a bit too repetitive and it's a bit boring.
Yeah, your job can take you to literally the top of a mountain. You can go
Exactly.
to a volcano. What could be more fun? You can have banana trees falling on you. This is the story for another time. But yeah,
yeah. We'll save that one. We'll save that one for another time. But yeah, no, honestly, and it's like one of the things, like going on different like course trips, going to different places. It's shown like some people I've met when like the lecturers have brought like speakers in. Some people said that they're marine biologists, so they've like gone to different places around the world and looked at species that live there. Someone was like a dolphin expert, a whale expert. Some people have been to like the coral reef. Obviously, sometimes it can be hard to follow your passion immediately without having, that bit of finance. So I'm like, if at first you can't, follow your passion because, you want to start, let's say you want to start a business, but you don't have any connections, or, you want to sell a product at some point, you just got to reflect and feel like, are you happy with like the work that you do? Like, do you see yourself working in this place in like, I don't know, let's say like 2 more years doing the exact same thing? And if you're not, then just think about like what you used to be passionate about, or what you were passionate about, whether you've lost that passion because finance became a thing. Even like, in the last year, there's been difficulties with, like people losing their jobs and stuff. So obviously, we're not saying ignore the finance, focus solely on your money. So yeah, but just think about that, once things, get to a better sense of normal, and, once you find yourself in like a stable job, just think about, are you happy with the work that you're doing? Are you happy with the way you're being treated at your workplace?
That's so important. Yeah.
And yeah, if
some people, it could be something you want to do, but maybe the environment that you're in, the particular company just isn't what fits you.
Exactly.
Isn't where you're going to feel that your passions are really being fulfilled.
Exactly. No, definitely.
That's so good, because also I have a friend, and he's gone on to do game design now. But he was originally he'd studied for coding, and he was working for a water treatment plant, and he was being paid a lot more there. But his dream was to do coding for games. So he quit he didn't quit his job there. He got a job offer first from this other company, and then he gave his notice and then went there straight away. Even though he gets paid less, he knows he prefers it and he feels more fulfilled. He actually feels better in the job, even though there's less money. He knows that it's something that he really wants to be doing in the future. And it's more of an investment, because if you invest your CV and your time and your experience into a field that you want to go into now, by the time you're, 10 years down the line, you can get a high position in a company that you prefer rather than in one you don't prefer. So it'll have a knock-on effect of actually getting more money in an industry that you'll probably have more energy to put towards. But yeah, definitely. Thanks, Jeffrey. And how about Ninoshka? Like, have you experienced any ideas of how money has influenced your way of following your passions?
Well, so like what you and Jeffrey were saying, is very true that money shouldn't be the thing that influences what you do with your life, because in the end, you only have one life and you have to just live it however it makes you happy. And it's also like Jeffrey was saying a little bit earlier, like initially you do need to have that financial stability before you can pursue your passions, because as he said, if you want to run a business, where are you going to get the capital from to start your business? You're going to need to do something. So I'm not saying like, yeah, fine, be unhappy in a job for a while till you can do what you're happy, but you have to kind of think of it in that aspect as well of, okay, I want to start said business, but I need to also think logically about how I'm going to do it. How is this going to be a success? But then again, like it's never too late to change your career. So you can be, I don't know, 40, 50 and think, I don't want to do this job anymore. And it will only be like another 3 years if you want to do a degree to change what you're doing. It's not the end of the world, I don't think. So like if you're a lawyer, for example, and you want to do medicine, a grad med course is only another 4 years. So another 4 years to do something that you're happy doing, as opposed to another 20 years where you're in a job that makes you unhappy. If you get what I'm kind of talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like an investment, like you said.
Yeah, it is an investment. And like if it makes you happy, it makes you happy. Yeah, for me, I enjoy what I'm doing, so I can't complain, to be honest. It's not all about money, but I'm just lucky that I enjoy the job that I'm in and the field that I'm in, and I find what I'm doing interesting and challenging, and it makes me want to learn more about it. So in that sense, I'm very lucky. But I don't know, like you said, 10 years down the line, I might not want to do that anymore. We just don't know.
Yeah, and life will take you in many different directions.
No, exactly.
Following your passion doesn't mean following, like we said before, like what motivated you as a child. But let's say that now an adult, and what you wanted to do as a child, isn't something you want to do. You don't want to run into a burning building as a fireman.
Exactly.
That's completely okay,
Yeah.
And obviously
dreams change.
Things do change, yeah. I'm not talking from personal experience, but yeah.
Of course.
Oh, there was one thing I did want to add on, it sort of like links into this, but Brunel itself, I guess for any Brunel listeners, they do have, like, for anyone who wants to support, not support, but anyone who wants to like start a business or, work on an idea and create into a business, there are loads of things like resources at Brunel. The PDC are very open about supporting students with that and helping students. They run like yearly competitions for students so it's like the competition it's an entrepreneur competition. You just have to come up with like a business idea. But that works, that, it's for current Brunel students, whether masters, undergrad, PhD, but it's also available for, I think, recent graduates for up to 3 years afterwards. And like the max prize you get is like £10,000.
Oh, wow.
Like £10,000 into your idea. And then I think because the panel that like assess you are like proper, they're people who've like started businesses themselves. So it's sort of like Shark Tank, I guess. But yeah, so they'll ask you like questions, you have to do stuff. And yeah, I'd say it's definitely really good. But even if you didn't want to do that, there's things like the Entrepreneur Society that is used to, support students who do entrepreneurial things. I want to start a business. So yeah, I definitely recommend, if anyone's listening and they are interested, go to the PDC or Brunel Professional Development Center, and they've got an Instagram account as well. So if you wanted to email them or send them an Instagram message, you definitely can.
Yeah, definitely. And check out if you're at a different uni, if you've been to a different uni, check out what they have to offer as well, because they could offer a similar financial scheme for you. So yeah, definitely too. That's a really good point, Jeffrey. Thanks.
No worries.
Okay, and the third point is scouting the industry. It's so easy to think of a job that you want to do and just hope that it works out and that you get there. But you need to search the industry for what you want to do, the specific thing, the specific area where you want to end up. You might not know exactly where, but you need to look at the broad spectrum of jobs that are within what you want to be, where you want to be, and what you want to be in the future. So it's really worth looking at how you get there. So that would involve going to the job market, figuring out the sort of job that you want to end up in, taking that, seeing what the requirements are, seeing what experience they need, seeing what skills they're looking for. And really cultivate those skills now, because your passion, if it's not, learning how to cook a lasagna, it's going to take a bit more time. If you want to do something like what Jeffrey does, actually changing climate issues through working with the environment, you need specific skills. You might need a degree, you might need to do studying, you might need to do an extra, you might need to do a master's with some. For example, if you wanted to be a chartered psychologist, specializing in therapy, and you wanted to be a therapist, you've got to do a psychology degree, then you've got to do a master's degree following that. So there are so many factors that you need to include in your passions. You can't just hope to be there. You've got to invest in it now, and there's no time like now to invest in it, because the more you delay, the less that you can get there. Obviously, if you need to do a course, you need to start that whenever you need to start it, but you can't just hope to just end up there, is the main thing. But then you might not want to do something that's along the beaten track. You might want to, innovate in some way, whether that's with a product, with a different kind of industry entirely, because every industry started off at some point with something that's unrecognizable from what it is today. And let's say that you've got an idea of starting something that just doesn't exist yet. You're not going to find a job for that. And that's completely fine as well. You can just think of what you need and how to get there logically and figure that out in your own way. But for most people, their passions and their desires might be a certain job, might be a certain role. It could be anything. Your passion could be working in HR, and that's completely fine as well. And so to do that, you need to know what skills are required, what kind of person they're looking for, and just work towards that now. The fourth point is what motivates or inspires you. So what and who? So who motivates you? Who do you look up to? Are they a real person or are they a character? Like you could be motivated by Harvey Specter from Suits and you really want to become a lawyer from that. Or you could be completely motivated by Einstein or Ruth Ginsburg, or even Elon Musk for his innovating skills, like absolutely anything. Recognize who you're drawn to, what you like about these people, what vision they have, and what vision that you can bring to add on in some way. What is it that you recognize and admire in them? And how do you think that you can do that yourself? Do you think that that's what you want? Because often the people that we look up to do the things that we want to do. To find out your passion, sometimes you need to look at who your role models are, what effect they have on your life, and whether that is what you want to do, because often they do coincide. So who motivates you, Jeffrey? I heard that you've got a few motivators that you look up to. So yeah, please tell us about that.
I would say, I guess one motivator is definitely my family. I think as a whole, like they're very supportive on like different things that I do. So for example, I've got the New Generation Instagram page that, looks at promoting sustainable fashion, and they've been like really supportive of that. When it comes to things like my, like the fashion shows we did before lockdown, they were always there, always helping on the day. So yeah, I'd definitely say my family is one of my motivators. I guess also the other thing that motivates me is just the idea of, making a difference in someone's life. Like I guess one of the things that I want to do, like any of the things that I do, whether it's like, through society, through my, academic studies or through anything, I always just want to be able to, help people where I can. Because I feel like, that's one of the things that I've learned, through not only through my course, but like through, I guess life is that, sometimes people just need, that one person to just help support them with an idea, and it, pops off and becomes an amazing thing. And I think, I just always want to be able to, help people where I can. So I guess, those would probably be the two main things that motivate me and, keep reminding me that, like, even when, even now, like in lockdown, there's times when I just get, tired of my dissertation or, tired of just, working on like a certain thing. Those things just keep reminding me that, there will be, a benefit at the end. And I think that's also, that's probably the last, of the three reasons or three things that motivate me. That would be one of the main ones of just the idea of, having something, seeing the end result, I guess. So, when it comes to like uni, university can be tough, but like one of the things that my dad always used to say, like he said recently, like just think, it comes not September, like come July, you'll have graduated, like everything would have, you would have done all this hard work would have just come to, would have come out and you would have got a really good grade or, first, second, or you would have been, if you put all your hard work in it, in whatever grade you get, you put all your work into it so that you did a really good job. I guess it's that idea of just, putting all your effort into something, knowing that, you can make the end result essentially whatever you want to be. So you can make it like be as amazing as you want or as I guess as and the opposite is as not as amazing as you want as it could be. So yeah, just looking at the end result and just thinking, if I put all this hard work in now, I'm going to reap like so many benefits afterwards that I might as well just tough it out. It'll be tough for a couple of weeks, but then boom, you find out your dissertation submitted and you got a really good grade, or you do it and you've got really good feedback on your coursework. Or you apply for this app. You might have applied for loads of applications and not heard back from anyone, but then you do it, and then the one job that you didn't think you would get, you got, and it turns out it's at a company that you really liked. So yeah, I guess those would be the things that definitely motivate me and keep reminding me when times might get tough to always keep going. Go the extra mile. Never have the regret that you could have done more. That's like the worst thing, and it's the worst feeling ever of looking back on something and thinking, yeah, I should have done like loads more.
Thank you. And Ninoshka, do you have any role models that you look up to?
Yeah. So again, similar to Jeffrey's. So the biggest kind of role models I have are my family.
Beautiful.
I know. No, so basically,
are they listening to the podcast? Is that why you said it?
I mean, let's hope so. Shout out to them. No,
they're standing right behind you now as we're recording. They're like,
okay, maybe they are. No. But I mean, my uncles and all of that. So they're in India and they have their own business and stuff. I've heard about how it was when they initially started and how hard it was to, break even and everything. But the fact that now I can see how, like, what it's become, and I can still see to this day, like, the work that goes into it, like the long hours that they put into it, that like running a business becomes kind of your life. It's not a 9-to-5 job like how I have or anyone else. It's just, it's a 24/7 thing, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And with the business that they're doing, there's no weekends. So it is a 7-day job, to be honest. So I've seen them essentially all my life, and they've never complained about how hard anything is or long days or lack of sleep, nothing like that. They just get on with life, if I'm being honest. And that's kind of, so even when I find something difficult, I'm like, oh my God, this is the most horrible, like, this is so difficult, this is horrible. But then I think, yeah, but it's nothing compared to.
Yeah, I 100% empathize with that. And it's come in a different form for me. But I remember when the in my halls, the hot water went and it was a cold shower. And I'm like, do I do it? And there's me stressing about it. And then I think, my mum didn't even grow up with hot water. Why would I?
Why
should I care? Like, she spent her entire childhood without hot water. So like, I can't exactly complain. I just got in it. I was just like, if my mum can do it, why can't I?
You're there giving yourself a pep talk before you go.
Exactly. Yeah. I could do it. Channel my mum. But yeah, no, 100%. Like, same in industry. If you think like, oh, I can't do it. All you got to do is look up to your role models. How did they do it? They went through difficulties.
No, for sure.
They've overcome their own battles. Maybe worse, maybe not worse, but either way, everything's doable. And you do. Everyone's entitled to their best go at influencing, changing, and revolutionizing whatever they can in the world. So everyone needs to use that that birthright almost to change and do and be what they want to be. But yeah, no, that's 100% right. And it's so nice to look up to family as well, because there's such a connection there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hearing about some guy or girl that did it, and they're in the industry and I'm looking up to them. It's different to knowing that someone of your own family has been able to do it. It gives you that strength that, it's not some faraway concept. It's someone very close to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So family is such a good example. And number 6, you need to enjoy something whilst being good at it. To do a job, to do something that you enjoy, really you have to be good at it. And you need to fulfill certain criteria for certain jobs. And that could be analytical skills, it could be mathematics, it could be physical dexterity, it could be anything. To make it easier, if you don't feel you've got a natural affinity for a job, it's not generally something that would be your passion. But if it is, you've got to review that. But it's not the end of the world, because it's not set in stone. Essentially, you can take your passions, and if you're not good at a certain part of it, if you're not good at, say, the physical side, the mental side, you can work on it, you can improve yourself, and you can develop. And we will have the capacity to learn new skills, even if we think we're bad at it. And normally it's that mental block where we think that we're bad at something that stops us from doing it. So there's a big difference between growth mindsets and fixed mindsets. And it's always better to have a growth mindset, especially when you're motivating yourself towards your passion. A growth mindset, you can take something you enjoy and become good at it. So a growth mindset's about not avoiding challenges, but embracing them. It's about not giving up, but persisting when you're challenged. Instead of seeing effort as wasted time, it's about seeing effort as a path to developing yourself. It's not about giving up when you're criticized, but taking on that criticism, using what people criticize you with to develop yourself and to grow. It's not being threatened by the success of others. You might be intimidated by someone in the industry, a colleague, the industry itself, but just taking other people and their success as lessons and examples of how you can actually progress yourself in the world. If they can do it, then you can do it. So you've got to see successes around you of other people as an example of how you can actually influence the world. And just look around, and there are so many people that you hear about every day that have made such, whether it's science, making leaps in science, whether it's with the environment, whether it's David Attenborough, whether it's a politician, a lawyer, an actor, an actress. It could be absolutely anyone. And just knowing that they can have such an impact as an individual, you can have such an impact as well. You can have that exact same impact. And if you don't have that growth mindset, if you're stagnant, believing that you're still this person that doesn't know anything, that can't do anything, that like is pushed around by life, that will limit you. But if you grow and realize that actually there's evidence all around you that individuals can make a difference, then you can apply that lesson to developing yourself, growing and channeling your way into your passions to be who you want to be. So to follow your passions, you need to just completely surpass your mental limitations and meet your fullest potential. And that will take determination and persistence. But afterwards, you'll feel such an intense sense of free will, knowing that once you've paved your way once, you can do it so many times in so many different areas of your life. At first, your passions might be about work. It could be something you want to do as a job. Maybe it could be a hobby, but then you could grow your passions. Your passions can, once you've reached a milestone, you might sit there thinking, I've done that. What can I do now? I mean, it could go into your family life, it could go into your friendships. Your passions can be literally anything. So just know that if another person does it, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to do it, with the odd exception. But for most cases, if someone else does it, you can do it. And if someone else hasn't done it yet, that's a perfect opportunity for you to do it. And just know that other people have achieved so much in the world as individuals that you too can just follow that passion and just go with it. Finally, I'd like to discuss the impact that COVID has on our beloved passions. If you're like most people, you'll see this as a block in your life, stopping you reaching your goals and reaching the pub. So I know a lot of people right now are spending much more time on Netflix and letting themselves acclimatize to waiting for the government to come in and save you with a vaccine. But this growth mindset I was talking about, means taking into your own hands the responsibility to follow your passions, using this crucial time to prepare, research, cultivate skills that you will need to follow this path in life that you want to take. You may even be able to follow some of your passions during this time, like, for example, if they're computer-based. So basically use this time. It's so important. Every time in our life is important. We use, a year is actually quite a long time. It's a decent segment of our lives that are taken. Let's say we live till 80. That's still 1 out of 80. That's a lot a lot of time, especially during this crucial stage, that we can actually do to cultivate things in our life. So if we do have some time, it doesn't mean you have to spend the entire year that you're stuck inside, etc. Researching all the time. Obviously have your breaks, have your have your little excursions into the digital world, go onto Facebook, go onto Instagram, have your relaxing time, but just make sure you do use the time that you have now, because it's easy to think like, oh, everyone else is doing nothing. I don't really feel bad if I use my furlough to just binge watch the Queen's Gambit or something like that. But it's so important to see what you want to do in life. And this is such a good time where there's no distractions, where you can just put your passions and your ideas of what you want to do in the future into a reality in terms of creating skills, creating ideas, and maybe even adding to what you already wanted to do. Maybe you could add an online aspect now that the world is changing in different ways. You need to adapt some of your passions, and this is a perfect time to do it. So you can make the excuse in life that COVID happened to you and you sat and waited for something to happen, or you could say that you used every opportunity to move forward. So use this time. And we want to hear examples of how people have used their time in productive ways over this period, over the COVID period. So do send these in. We will listen to them. And you might even be featured on our next show. So just to end, I'd like to remind people that, let's say that you want to do something for your passion, if it's helping someone, if it's doing a particular thing, like I said with the cooking, it doesn't need to take up your every waking moment. It doesn't have to take up your full-time job, even your 9 to 5. You can still have a 9 to 5 and do things that you want to do in the weekends, after hours. It could be, if you wanted to help people, it could be volunteering. It could be investing your time into developing cooking skills, developing programming skills, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be your 9 to 5. You can follow it along with your job, and that's still your passion, and there's still ways to do it. And let's say you get really good at it. Let's say it's something that you really want to do. You're volunteering for a certain company. You could apply for a full-time role. You're doing coding in your spare time, and you could eventually apply for a coding job. Get some more experience in that. These are all things to consider. And that's basically it, guys. And thank you so much, and girls. And thank you so much for listening to me for our first podcast. Jeffrey honoured me with the topic of passions, which I've introduced, and hopefully have left everyone with a good impression of what they want to do with their lives, and a good impression of our podcast as well. So I'm going to go over to Jeffrey now. He's going to take over with our person of the month and other amazing, exotic and interesting things. So Jeffrey, thank you so much for giving me the honor of this very first episode.
No, you're welcome, Sam. And thank you for bringing such an important and relevant topic to light. So one thing that we're going to be doing throughout this podcast series is we will be doing the Emcee of the month. So obviously, we're called Pick Up the Mics. We've related it to microphones with Emcee. But this person is basically, someone we want to highlight who we believe is, very relevant to the topic that we're discussing. So today, the person, or this month, I should say, the person that we're picking is someone called Yara Shahidi. If you're a listener and you've watched shows like Blackish or Grownish, she's on there. And basically, she is an actor. She's around our age. She recently just turned 21. But the reason for picking her is, she followed her passion of acting. She's been acting for a long time, but she's also very passionate about promoting, different causes. She's very passionate about, being, promoting feminism and raising awareness about it. But one of the ones that, relates to the three of us is not only students that have studied STEM subjects, but also, students that have helped with the STEM team at Brunel, is she's also like a huge advocate for STEM awareness, especially in America. And she's she's worked at different companies. She's also, been a campaign, helped with campaigns to allow funds to be put towards STEM programs within different parts of America. She's been passionate for it since she was, very young. She's, it's led to her, picking the course that she wanted when she went to college or university to us. But yeah, so I think that she's a really good person to follow. And if you do watch, do want to know more about her, you can check out her TV shows that she's currently in, Blackish and Grownish. They're both very good shows.
They're still ongoing as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they're still ongoing.
I think one of our quotes as well was, what the pandemic has brought is a knowledge that nothing is certain. So you have to be as dynamic as the circumstances, and that really fits in with our message today as well. But sorry, back to you.
No, that's wonderful. And yeah, so I think that's a perfect way to end it. So yeah, that's why we picked her as the MC for this month. If you have any suggestions for MCs for next month, like we said, just send us a message on our website or on our Instagram. Our website is in the link of our Instagram account. Our Instagram account is Pick Up the Mic Brunel. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, for taking the time to be involved with this podcast. And like we said, we're always looking for new people to get on board and interview. So if there's someone or a topic you might think is quite relevant, please do let us know. And we're looking forward to seeing your answers to some of the questions that we've discussed today. So that's a goodbye from me, and goodbye from Sam and Ninoshka. So thanks for listening, everyone, and speak to you all very soon.